Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Chasing Dallas Reunion Season 6, Part 3. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. You can also subscribe if you are new and leave your comments below. Let's get into this remaining part. There was some interesting stuff that happened. Okay. All right, so we start off where we ended, and it was with this whole Lamont Rachel thing. Lamont was asked a question as we took the break for this last part 2, about when did you tell your girlfriend what was going on. He was saying that he told her some stuff, but he didn't tell her everything, really, until people started running their mouths. First, of course, Rachel, but then I guess the ones who really carried the bone were Chloe and Robert Ray. Robert Ray is Lamont's ex. Whatever happened between Lamont and Rachel, Lamont claims that it was a test to see how they bond and how they would work out before he would actually bring her into him and his girlfriend's bed chambers. That's the only thing I can really say. But basically, you know, I was like, oh, okay. So he says, well, you did fail because also my woman wanted to have sex with you, but then you failed that because you ran your mouth. Lamont says that his relationship with his girl, or BITCH, he did use that, especially when he wanted to act like he was the one in control of this relationship and what goes on. If you heard how he was talking, it was very telling as to what this relationship is all about. He says that the relationship is closed, but he can do what he wants because of who he is, meaning he's bisexual. So he likes what he likes. Markel asked a question, so can they go test out somebody and then bring them to you? What is the actual thing? And of course he did say closed. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it to me. And the reason we're discussing a relationship is because of how it came to us. So is it our business? No, but it is our business for entertainment purposes because of your dealings. Would I personally get with somebody on anywhere that I work with? No. You are amongst a reality show, and we're trying to create content and entertainment. And guess what? Your relationship is going to be on the spotlight, especially if you decide that you're going to mess with someone of your castmates. Because people kept trying to figure out why this person kept saying, my man, my man, my man, my man. Or what did she say? That's my crush. That's this, all that, both claim, Lamont claims that he didn't know that Rachel was friends with Robert Ray. Rachel says, I didn't know that Lamont used to be Robert Ray's ex. I don't believe that. I honestly don't believe anything. And because I would never mess with, even after the point, after the fact, all during the season, he's still your crush, you're this, you're that. Rachel. So actually there would be no more talking about it once you knew that that's not making any sense. No. And we get what goes on in this community. And a lot of people don't have that type of honest system. And it's kind of like, how can I say this? Slim, that you probably have not dealt with someone that you know has not dealt with, unfortunately. So no, I don't believe y'all one bit. Since you only told your woman, Alicia, bits and pieces, Lamont, and then had to tell her the whole thing later on, nah. And that's one of the biggest things that I don't really like about these so-called open relationships. I think the key components in any of that, if you're going to do that, you have to be integral, and you got to be accountable for what you do. If you sit up here omitting certain things, that's a lie. People don't like to call it that. No, it's a lie, and you're a manipulator. That's manipulation. Sorry. So I can just basically figure out what goes on in this relationship, and I can see it going to hell pretty soon. And maybe the lady, she's okay with it and just comfortable with what he does, or maybe she, I don't know. It was kind of weird. It's weird. Maybe you just put up with it because whatever. I don't know, but I can no. Flop for both Rachel and Lamont because y'all lying, and we can put things together, and we got common sense. So stop treating us like we don't. Mother's package. Is Mother messy or was carrying the whole show on her back? I think mother was messy for show purposes, but then to me, backpedaling and then somehow deflecting and trying and projecting onto other people when people were confronting her. I didn't really confront her too much on here, but she was able to scheme in a way to make it look like I'm not the problem. Jet Jeff and his crew is the problem. That was the going thing. So that's how I seen her. Is mother just here to stir the pot with no chase? Mother said, okay, I guess people can say that. Go ahead. Because we know that mother had lost his job earlier on this year. Now, mother says that he has a job, so that's cool. But different ones on the show, they did say that also in regards to no chase, just there to stir the pot. Lamont jumped up real quick and basically said, hey, yeah, that's who you are. And you were too busy being fake. Lamont and mother know each other off camera. They've known each other for years. And I guess Lamont feels a certain type of way because mother has been saying things about him to other people that's been really shady. Lamont he says that he offered to help mother at least appear to have something to chase by having a photo shoot, and he would wear one of mother's skirts. And now mother is thrown off because when did you say this? When did you say this? When did you say this? Da, 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 da. Lamont said, I told you 3 times. Let's do this thing. But then he said, well, mother said that while we were on the show, you weren't trying to be no friend. And he said, clearly not, because of how fake you were going around saying stuff about me. From back in the day, I used to put your wigs on. And now you're telling people that your wigs fall off with me. So you were doing stuff against me. We were friends, and now we're associates. He even talked about the time that he got mother an Uber and was drunk. This is probably the most quiet I've seen mother, because she didn't know how to go back and forth with this dude that is now really exposing mother for what was going on. But I will also say, I think that mother feels betrayed by trying to, because it feels weaponized that I think Lamont came off as weaponizing what mother was going through. He didn't have no job. And now that you were being a friend, and in that moment, it was kind of cringe, but at the same time, it was interesting to see mother very tongue-tied. Even Kelly said something. Like, oh, now you studying. Because all during the season when you were just so fired up, it's just like, ooh, okay. But yeah, Lamont, I think you hurt her. I'm not saying that you weren't hurt by that, but it feels like you chose this moment to gag mother. And if you were friends, why didn't you have some type of conversation offline? Now, you could do whatever you wanted to do during this reunion, but at the same time, it's like, what? Okay. And Lamont did something. He's now talking his ish because he thinks that he's the biggest chaser on this cast. So I guess next season we're going to see a different Lamont and going to be doing all this stuff that y'all don't like about Zesty. It looks like it that way. Busy being fake. Da 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 da. Oh. What about the skirt line? Mother says that he has a pre-screening in November, a little soft launch. Okay, they go back to this whole Kelly about this mother name and stuff. Kelly says that she does not care, but you did care, in the moment at least. I will. Kelly said that I will call him by what they prefer to call, but I'm not calling this person mother because I don't feel comfortable in doing that because mother is not feminine enough. But he does drag, so I'm confused on that. I think somebody else brought that up. He does drag, but in Kelly's mind, the reason she don't want to say it or call him mother is because he looks like a man. He's and all that good stuff, but I don't get that. I mean, he dyes his hair, all that good stuff, but take off the beard and then, oh, now you're feminine. All I can say is that mother is not trans, and that's cool. Mother could be fluid or non-binary, and that's cool. But it's just like, I don't see the problem in it. And calling them mother, as you said, but you're not. You're going to just say, hey, friend, and all that good stuff. I don't know. I'm just confused about that, Kelly. I mean, you can keep it moving, whatever. Again, I did see both sides, but how you are explaining things is not making sense. Mother's non-invites and stuff like that. We get to the bottom of it, and mother wasn't fooling with anyone based upon whom she thought you was fooling fooling with. Meaning, anybody that was hanging with Jeff, I didn't want to feel fool with. Kelly was hanging with Chloe and already grouped Kelly in that situation and did not want to deal with Kelly, and that's why Mother didn't invite Kelly to, I think, the bowling event. On a reality show, that don't work. Mother, you can't do that. You can't do that. And I wish someone would have told that to you. But instead, there was this divisive way of how you were operating and making this cast operate and all that good stuff. You were, and I'm not going to just act like it wasn't there. You came on the show being divisive. So Rio, Mother ends up saying, you know, what made me not really want to be involved with Rio is because of that post, the ninja post. But then there was something else about him reposting the ninja post during the season. I don't know what that is all about. Is that when stuff went viral about what was happening in LA, about those certain ones over there that just kept saying ninja? I was confused about that, but Rio asked, you know, is there any type of resolve or anything that we can go, Mother said he don't see that right now. He did not feel that Rio was sincere during the season about his apologizing. But again, this is the thing that pisses me off, because how in the world can you say that Rio was not sincere? But you got Donnie Moon apologizing, going in his green screens, taking it back in front of each other, taking it back. Like, you had no smoke, but you threw him under the bus and then all of a sudden wanted to cover him because it was actually something important. It's cool to be passionate about you and what you feel about certain things, about being offended, but you're very silent when you see discrimination towards others. That is telling to me, and that is bias. Again, stand up for what you want as far as your people, but don't act like there wasn't discrimination going on towards a Jet, towards Zesty, and towards Rio this season. And then again, you made sure you dug your knife deeper into what was going on when you decided to be divisive and make sure you kept them on the island by themselves. He says that he thinks that Rio was sincere during this reunion. Is the door open? The door's not closed, but it's barely cracked. Cool. What I will say about Rio, this reunion, I think for the most part, he's just stood in his ish. He apologized, straight, sincere. He didn't have no type of extra dramatics about anything. He didn't try to justify anything, and I can give him big ups about that. I think that he handled it very maturely in everything, and that speaks volumes as far as his character is. I'm sorry. A lot of y'all was justifying, deflecting, and all that during this reunion, which I thought was like, ooh, that's distasteful. But anyways, Kelly and Mother, they make up, or whatever, or because it was really petty or whatever, they hug it out. The whole thing with Zesty and Mother, they talked a little bit and during Zesty's package, whatever. Was Zesty keeping it real or causing mess? I would say both. And I think if Zesty wasn't causing mess, it would have been a little bit of a boring season. And what I will say, Zesty has a way of triggering folk, and he'll sit there and look cute and pretty. How many people have gotten up trying to get in Zesty's face and he just sat there? He didn't get up. Now, he'll get up on his own, not in a way of provoking a person or about to thrust after someone. No. He'll get up and say, I'm cute, but no. I think if he'd hone into that a little bit more, just to be, how can I say this? You can trigger folks. I think that the way that you do it, it can get old. If you're going to be on the show, Zesty, it can get old really quickly because you kind of are kind of a one-trick pony in regards to that. Even though you still get them triggered and they still getting up out of their seats for whatever reason, I don't know. Rachel did it later on. I'm like, what? Over because he calling you out for not standing on your issue. Glenn, what's the update on your relationship with Zesty? He says he doesn't want a relationship. He thinks that the whole hookah thing was just nonsense, and we probably could have worked on something if it wasn't dragged out. It's still reality TV. Stuff is gonna be dragged out. It was really nothing that we needed to discuss, but it did happen. Zesty felt like, who nitpicks on someone when they first meet someone like that? And he felt like Glenn was playing him and all that good stuff. So that's why it kind of just stayed that way. Zesty said that you never apologized or anything. Glenn said he did. Well, I didn't hear that or whatever. And even right there, Zesty wanted to resolve, but Glenn said, no, we good. Like, basically, I don't want nothing. It's over. And then they start insulting each other. Is Zesty Rio's lapdog? I don't think so. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, the way that y'all wanted to all of a sudden stand up for Zesty, Donnie Moon, thinking he was being bullied even though he was starting all this shit. Rio's lapdog, and all he did was tell him what y'all was saying. And then he talked about, well, you stood next to him during that time where he tried to confront us. Well, yeah, I'm going to be there. Why all of a sudden y'all don't know about street logic when it comes to someone else, but y'all know it about yourselves? That's really weird to me. I'm sorry. So at every event, you ended up causing some ruckus. Again, those scenes wouldn't have been aired if Zesty wasn't causing something, you know? That's just how I see it. Rio, are you soft at all? He said, yeah, outside of the show, a lot of people would say I'll be soft. They said that he's a good uncle. I've seen a few pictures on Instagram, and you can tell that he loves his family. Rio ended up apologizing to Glenn. Hopefully I was talking about Zesty being soft. It was about Zesty being soft. Hopefully I said that. Rio just said that he was being a petty messy at that moment, and he wanted to apologize in regards to that. Glenn accepted it. Mother wanted to ask Zesty an opinion about the whole thing at Rio's thing to Zesty. Should I have an opinion since I paid and all that good stuff? Zesty said, you're a grown man, you can say and give whatever, but I'm still telling my friend what you said. Period. And since y'all was so thirsty to know what I said to Rio, all I said is none of these itches are your friends. Trying to be YouTube friendly and all the good stuff. Don't trust these folks. And that's when Rio came out there and started, asking what's up. So, we get to the more serious side of things, because people were dealing with real things. We talked about, J-Lo talked about her cancer thing. We know about Chloe's jail time and all that good stuff. Rio, during that time, I think this was like episode 3 or 4, when he had that car crash that could have ended his life or anyone else's life. I think totaled out of his car, broke up with the boyfriend he was seeing at the time, and all that good stuff. He said, I still drink, but I just slowed down. He said a couple people call him, I think Kelly and someone else, they check on him a lot after that whole situation. And he said, I don't really want to leave my child alone in regards to that. So it just helped him to just realize, nope, I got stuff here to do, and I can't just be reckless in what I do. Kelly and her boyfriend, the boyfriend just completed barber school, so they'll be doing some hair and barber stuff, collabs together. Rachel, we end up finding out that she lost 12 people. How do you keep going? Oh, well, yeah, how do you keep going? Well, Rachel just says, I just do it. I keep going. I can't really rest at this moment. They said, the cast was like, you need to let that out. She says that she doesn't have a safe place and she doesn't feel safe to be vulnerable with anyone. Now, Rachel says that she does, or what did she say? She said that she is that safe place to her friends. I'm the strong one, but I don't have it in them. Well, that's not a balanced relationship, and are these friends or not? And I can't question the sincerity of these close relationships as far as you lost 12 people. You said that you know people from the ballroom scene, and those were part of the people that you lost. I don't know if these were sincere connections or not. I don't want to really talk that much about grief. I know how it could add up, even in knowing someone, and if you just have one person that you lose, that sting is there, and then you start seeing other people that you at least know around you is going away, it could have an effect on you, and it's just like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with anyone else dying, whether I am super close or someone I just know, so I can get that part. Kelly was like, I was trying to be a friend, I mean, and then Rachel was like, well, we're not friends like that. I get that, but I think people are availing themselves to be that type of place, and I think that you have chosen to have this wall up, and you're going to crash and burn this way. I don't know who you need to confide in, but crash and burn. I don't care if you're from New York. No, you're not a robot, Rachel. That's the best advice I can give. So there was this back and forth and all that, yeah. But Kelly did want to be a friend to Rachel. Ted Lee announces that he's leaving the Chasing platform. I think the writing was on the wall. We saw that Ted Lee wasn't that present, and he definitely wasn't getting into the mess. He was just looking at them like, okay. So he's leaving and continuing on his career. He did say that he's still doing his Make It White thing. He's distributing, partnering up with someone else and all that good stuff. Lamont thinks that he's the biggest chaser, the real chaser. He has a real chase going on. His cologne is selling at this moment, and he was shocked at the sales. Kelly has some products for a hairline that she's doing. Good, thank you. And she has a show that she is going to be releasing soon that she's producing. I said, oh, okay. Rio is still doing his Reckless Doll business. They're on season 2 of their tour, and soon going to be on season 3, breaking out into the Austin, Texas area and all that good stuff. Rachel said that she knows someone that she could recommend to Rio for it. Zesty, I wish Zesty hadn't did that. What Zesty's doing is what he's been doing thus far. He spoke about the life insurance. I have life insurance plans, not too sure about the plans for people that may be doing drug abuse and also their age. I'm like, that was too much, Zesty. That was too much. Not in that moment. And it fell flat. Nobody's going to take you serious, because guess what? At the same time that you're supposed to create drama on this show, you're supposed to be chasing, and who's really going to want to do that much business with you, and you're just showing yourself mostly at being messy. And I believe that you do have legitimate stuff going on, but not the time and place, especially because you're not business minded. Be messy, but be business minded at the same time, because it's not. I think it was uncalled for. Glenn has enrolled in school and starts in September, and was talking about his non-for-profit that's going to be up and running back soon. Rachel is in real estate class and all that good stuff. Her makeup line soft launch was pretty good and all that, and she's moving forward with that. Mother is going to be learning how to sew, because Mother does outsource as far as the sewing thing. We already know that she's doing her soft launch in November. Chloe is getting into the web reality world as far as being a content creator. Good. Have avenues of income. You have probably, I think, a good audience already, so they'll listen to you and what you have to say. But she's going to be reviewing a bunch of shows and also putting her pitch in to host the reunion, season 7 reunion for Atlanta. I guess this is for Chasing Atlanta. Donnie, he has the video back up. I did see Mother and Chloe in it. I did see it. It was cool. And he's going to be having an EP coming out pretty soon, not a whole album. Jet still doing his music. He's going to get into the streaming world. Oh, what was the place he said? I forgot. But yeah, going to do that as a way to promote his music. Mother did say to Jet, thank you for reaching out to try to be a friend and all that, off camera and all that. I mean, that's cool. I'm cool that y'all in a better place. And thank you for saying that, because it was just like there was this constant one-way attack that Jet ended up joining in, because it's like you're not just gonna keep on saying this and that about me. Da 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 da. So I get where even Jet was coming from in the whole situation. I guess we'll see where it goes from here. I think that hopefully Mother opens up and closes up to certain people, but be less complicated as far as even wanting to make connections. You don't have to be besties with folks, but coming to your own conclusions without even having a conversation with someone is a little bit too much, in my opinion. And then, before the ending credits, we see that there was an altercation between Jet, Kelly, and Rio. Some security camera footage from someone's home was given to the producers. Something happened where they were out celebrating right after reunion. I see something where Jet and Kelly were kind of struggling, and then all of a sudden, you see Rio is drunk, in my opinion, and getting tipsy and very, he wasn't hardly able to keep his balance. And then him and Kelly get into it. They start fighting. So we know 3 contracts that are secure for next season. Definitely Rio, Kelly, and Jet, because they said to be continued. So they got something to work with for next season. Oh God. Oh God. I don't know where this is going, but let's see where it goes. But I enjoyed myself this season. The discrimination towards races that carried on too long, and I wish it would have resolved. But I think that we've come to a cool place with that, I guess. And we won't be talking about that next season, right, Cass? Because I don't want to hear it. And I'm just interested. So I'm really sold into the whole chasing franchise and all that. And I'm loving you guys. And soon we're going to start looking at old seasons just to see how everything is. But I think you got a good brand, a good set of people. And that's all I got. But I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Like this video. Also subscribe. And leave your comments below. Until the next one, peace.